Nonsense Season 4 episode... No, I was going to do this differently.
Already off the rails. The first sentence.
Welcome to Nonsense Season 4 Episode 24, our big story. I'm Jeff Parker. Do I sound different today?
Are we in a library? What's going on? Is it?
I just always do the thing real loud, and I thought, well, I'm going to do it different today.
I'm so confused.
It's a different kind of show. We didn't have a show for Tuesday, so I thought, well, let's change things up on the Thursday show, too. Let's make this really different.
It's like we're recording in the lobby at the DMV, and we don't want to upset the people next to us taking their test.
Well, they might be disturbed. That's true. Are you CJ Little?
I am. I am CJ Little. There's a space in between those two, which I recently discovered.
This time we're looking at entertainment as emotional survival, how play rewires your prefrontal cortex. Up next.
I'm not sure there's any wiring in my prefrontal cortex. It's like the movie shot where they had like the old telephone switchboard, but nothing's plugged in.
Yeah.
It's just a bunch of receptacles, just a bunch of jacks.
And on the floor, there's just a pile of cords.
Pile of cords, yeah. Yeah, that's exactly right. And there's nobody to put them in. There's one older lady in the corner smoking who's like, yeah, I'm not plugging any of those in. No, I'm good.
Doesn't really matter. When I plug them in, I don't get any signal anyway.
Doesn't change anything.
No.
Yeah, there's no...
0 point in it.
If you look at the back of the board, none of the receptacles are wired to anything. It's just... my prefrontal cortex is basically a prop, is what I'm saying. That's what the P stands for.
I was worried because this topic is going to be a lot of brain theory.
Yeah.
This part of the brain does this part of the brain does this, why we need to stimulate.
It's not theory. I wouldn't call that theory. That's pretty well documented.
All right, like I said, it's brain documentation. Nevertheless, I thought, boy, and it's supposed to be a show on entertainment. This is not going to be very entertaining if we're just talking about brain stuff. I think we're going to be okay, maybe. We'll see, but so far I think we're going to be okay.
I thought we were doing this because 95% of our shows, we talk about tech and or business.
It is true.
And we always put entertainment in there. And I'm like, well, so instead of talking about a part of entertainment, we're literally just talking about entertainment.
The broad topic of entertainment. Yes. My son's girlfriend originally suggested this topic.
Yeah.
Talk about entertainment. And I said, what do you mean? What part of entertainment? She said, just
all of
entertainment. And I went, oh,
sure.
That's actually a really great topic. That's kind of smart.
Yeah. And now your son owes her $100.
Maybe.
That's where that came from. He was like, they won't do a show on entertainment. And she's like, hold my beer. And then here we are. Entertainment is interesting because obviously it's a very wide aperture, like extremely wide.
We'll define it. We'll narrow it down.
Well, I would hope.
Okay, the play instinct, entertainment as an evolutionary essential. Let's go.
I don't think of entertainment as being an evolutionary essential, so you're going to have to sell me on this.
Okay.
More than like thumbs. I feel like thumbs is an evolutionary essential. If I'm making a list of evolutionary essentials, I feel like entertainment should be down the list.
That's probably true. We often worship at the altar of the grind, measuring our worth by the sheer output of our labor. In this culture of relentless utility, entertainment is frequently dismissed as a distraction, a frivolous detour from the real work of building a life. But as Albert Einstein famously observed, play is the highest form of research.
Einstein also observed that two things are infinite, the universe and human stupidity.
Yeah.
And he said he wasn't sure about the universe.
We don't just crave stories, we're built from them. From flickering cave fires to the neon glow of the metaverse, entertainment is far more than a guilty pleasure. It's a biological imperative. From an evolutionary standpoint, play was our first simulator. It allowed us to rehearse survival, navigate social hierarchies, and decode complex emotions without the risk of real-world consequences. Today, that drive remains.
And fortunately, from an evolutionary perspective, the metaverse has been canceled.
Yes, it has. While a strong work ethic fuels our progress, the cognitive playground of entertainment fuels our sanity. It binds us through shared myths and provides the social glue necessary for human cooperation.
I always thought alcohol was the social glue, no?
Alcohol's the social lube.
Yeah.
As Dr. Ruth Westheimer used to say, don't confuse your lube and glue.
No, but to be fair, they put the damn Astro glue in a purple tube, and I don't understand why that happens. Pick a different color, maybe make a tube a different size.
Also, make the coupon good for only one and not both.
One and not the other.
In a world that demands constant utility, we look to the screen and the stage to remember what it means to feel. To crib a line from play theorist Brian Sutton Smith, the opposite of play is not work, it's depression. One builds the world, the other makes it worth living in.
Now, the scope on this is obviously quite huge, right?
Entertainment?
Yeah, that's a wide aperture.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking we should probably break this up into some pieces.
What you got? What's your ideas?
Well, I think first we have to define entertainment, or sort of talk about what is entertainment.
Yeah.
Or at least for the scope of our conversation here. Maybe why do we need it?
Yeah.
Like why, especially after you're a kid, because I think a lot of people think entertainment
for sure.
should fall off after childhood.
For a lot of people, it does.
And maybe we talk a little bit about some of the bizarre ways we each know people have entertained themselves over time, because that could get spicy.
I like that.
And then maybe finally, are we just overstimulating ourselves everywhere?
Only when possible.
only during the waking moments. That seems to be the world we're marching towards.
The modern world, exactly.
Yes.
All right. What is entertainment?
Yes.
Is entertainment, let me just set out some parameters.
Okay.
Is entertainment anything that is not required to feed, clothe, or house ourselves? Anything beyond that is entertainment, beyond those essentials? Are we just entertaining ourselves? Obviously, there's other things like medicine. That's not entertaining.
It should be. I've seen Patch Adams.
Education, that's not necessarily entertaining, but it is. I mean, obviously, if you do it well, you're entertaining your audience.
I feel like all education should be entertaining.
There is a utility to becoming educated that is important.
Sure.
That is not necessarily entertaining.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Hygiene, taking a shower, that's not necessarily entertaining, again, unless you do it right.
I don't feel like we should. I mean, I also remember college. I don't feel like we should define entertainment as a it's not these other things, because that's going to be a pretty long list. I think we should think more about what entertainment.
It's not as long as you'd think. I mean, literally, it's like social cohesion. That's another thing that's not necessarily entertainment.
I don't know.
You got education, you got medicine, you got hygiene. It's a small list.
Well, hold on. I want to disagree with you on that. I feel like social cohesion, that bonding experience, should be entertaining.
You might be bonded by entertainment, but that is another thing in life that is important.
Yeah.
When I walk up Runyon Canyon and I do my hike, I am very careful to everyone who passes by to be nice and to try to say something amusing or in some way will make them think of me in a fond way, so that when they find me lying there having had a heart attack or having tripped and fallen 30 feet, they're willing to stop and help me. That social bond is super important, and it's not entertainment necessarily.
You sure they're not going to do like what they do on Everest and just roll you over the side, and then you can be
they might just roll me into the popsicle lane. Sure.
Hey, where are we meeting when we hike next week? Be like, I'll meet by the guy with the brown shoes. I think his name was Jeff. Just straight up Everest.
It's a common meeting place because he's the idiot who wore the brown shoes. He didn't want to wear the spike shoes.
It's his own fault.
And government and law, that's not entertainment either. We have to take care of how we treat each other.
Sure. To have an exhaustive list there is a lot.
Okay.
Plumbing. I don't know. I feel like things.
Well, that's part of housing yourself. By the way, if you get elaborate, if you get beyond survival, anything you build in your house that is beyond what you need to survive, that's entertainment. That's purely entertainment. Put in the hot tub, that's entertainment. You don't really need that to survive.
Oh, I don't know. A hot tub, that's like relaxing. That feels, that I can put that in the survival bucket. I hear your point though.
Yeah.
If you're a family of 4 and you've got 12 bedrooms.
Yeah, of course.
8 of those are probably more like at best escapism.
I mean, the obvious one is like if you have a big home theater, that's obviously entertainment. If you have a room that's a wrapping room, guess what? That's entertainment too. Because you could do that in some other part of the house.
I always love looking at houses that have wrapping rooms.
Yeah, you do.
Just all the implication of that. Like
the Spellings house. Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
Like, first of all, the fact that you have a wrapping room is pretty damn cool. But then second, the fact that you're wrapping enough presents that you need a room dedicated to it. I really do find that fantastic.
Yeah.
It'd be like the equivalent of you host for Thanksgiving, you make a turkey once a year, and there's a stuffing room, right? Like that would just be, I mean, actually a stuffing room could be really fun. I got to think of it.
Be lovely.
That could be entertainment. Meet me in the stuffing room.
By the way, an elaborate kitchen is not necessary for survival.
Of course not.
So yeah, that would be, largely it would be entertainment.
All right. I feel like now I need to go look at Zillow and just look at like what percentage of the square footage in this house is just for entertainment purposes.
Exactly.
What
a lot of
really
it probably
need?
is. Yes.
Okay. I'm willing to agree that most things are going to be for entertainment value and not for like pure sustenance or survival.
Oh no, it's about to get much, much worse with AI.
Oh yeah.
We're going to be entertaining ourselves a lot more than we even currently are as we develop more efficient ways for the actual work to get done.
Yeah. Your prefrontal cortex is where all of like the magic happens, right? That's all of your like executive functions.
Decision making, that kind of stuff. Impulse control, social etiquette. Sure.
Yeah.
It's the opposite of the amygdala, which is just pure
response, right? It's just like a response to stimulus is what the
amygdala says when you lose at Monopoly, flip over that game board, flip it in the air. It's the prefrontal cortex that says, don't do that because last time you had to do that, you had to clean it up.
No, my prefrontal cortex still tells me to flip over the table. They're both in agreement. They're both, it doesn't care. Like I'm happy to pick the pieces up. I just feel a statement has to be made.
Prefrontal cortex typically develops in your brain in your mid-20s.
Yes. But the amygdala is what responds to stimuli directly. And that's how, when you're born, it's doing most all of the work. The hope is as you age, the prefrontal cortex takes on more of that responsibility. And the amygdala, it doesn't completely fade off into the darkness, but it does less and less because your consciousness.
You control those emotions. You control those more primal thoughts.
So when you're born, your instincts, your sort of immediate response to things is primarily what's driving that. A significant portion of your wiring, though, is formed in the first couple of years of development. That continues on, I think, all the way up until your 20s.
Until you're dead.
Well, you would hope.
Because things keep getting rewired and pruned and changed.
Yeah.
Play is also the safe space for failure. We do our social calibration in play.
Yeah.
You watch movies and things. You learn how to be an adult when you're a kid. You are having emotional experiences. You are getting to rehearse things in a safe way to learn
It's a
about
spectrum.
things and how people might react to things in a completely safe way, even though you're just passively observing.
I certainly think it's a function of the content, right? There's some content where,
of course,
I can observe my children's brains melting out and slipping through their ears while they're watching it.
Sure.
Right. So like there's some of that, but you would hope that it's more of a stimulating content that does encourage some thought, some process.
Chronic stress shrinks the dendrites, the branches of the neurons in the PFC, making us more reactive and less logical. So play activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which counters this damage. It essentially unlocks the prefrontal cortex, allowing it to regain control from the stress-driven lower brain centers.
Yeah.
By the way, language is a huge benefit for human beings in play.
For sure.
Because in play, we can learn things vicariously that you would not necessarily want to have to learn experientially.
I didn't have to go figure out kinematics. Somebody told me about it. So why do we need this? Why do you need entertainment? What is the value of it beyond childhood?
Right.
First of all, I believe this is hardwired in, right? You see, because you see this in other animals, it's not just us. This has been hardwired in the, I don't know, when did we get out of single cell orgasms?
I'm sorry, what?
Hannah? What now?
Organisms, you mean?
Oh, yeah, those two. Sorry. All the letters are important. Since we developed into like multicellular organisms,
yes.
What is that, 500 million years ago? I mean, it's been a minute.
Different amounts for different ones of us, sure.
Yeah, totally. I've met some of the ones that aren't quite there yet, and yeah, they got a long way to go. You better get with a program. The sun's not going to be around for that much longer. Play in this engaging with each other across species has been a thing for like 500 million years.
However, I think most animals are mostly done with their learning when they come out of childhood, and that's not true of humans.
I would hope not.
Humans can continue learning for their entire life. Animals can too. The old sentence, can't teach an old dog new tricks. Yeah. Turns out that's completely untrue. There is nothing my dog likes more than training sessions where he can learn new things.
Yeah, and get a new snack.
And gets a new snack. That's true.
I'm with you. I do the same thing. Cutting back to humans here for a minute. In the early years, so the sort of 0 to 3 range, a significant portion of your cerebral cortex is wired during this time where you are learning through play.
Yeah.
And that is that, like, you get your infant kid the little container that has the different shapes on it, and they put the different shapes into each holes. That is a play-based learning.
Not to get all sciencey on it, but even as an adult.
You mean to get all sciencey on it. You don't apologize for getting all sciencey.
Even as an adult, entertainment triggers endorphins and dopamines and things like that. Of course. They're necessary to counteract the neurotoxic effects of chronic cortisol, which is stress.
But there's this leading theory that training for the unexpected is what they call this sort of hypothesis, where play serves to train us and animals.
Dry runs. This is dry runs.
To cope with unpredictableness, like the things that you don't know.
Right.
This, dry run where you go through it and then you're like, oh, okay, next time I see this, I can do some pattern recognition or at least have walked through it before, and you are somewhat trained so that the first time you see it isn't the first time you see it.
It's why we like horror movies or thriller movies, because they allow our amygdala to process the threats as if at some point that might occur to you.
And that benefit seems to continue even past childhood.
Fiction generally sort of allows us to simulate social interactions.
Yeah.
We get to live through a character's drama and refine our own theory of mind. We actually get to sometimes empathize, thinking that'll never be my life, but I sure understand how he got there.
Sure.
And understimulation of the mind leads to depression.
Yeah.
You are also helping avert cognitive decline when you're doing puzzles and things like that to stimulate your brain.
Keeping your brain engaged.
If you're understimulated, you will end up with cognitive decline happening earlier than it needs to.
Totally.
You have to work on the neuroplasticity of your brain, just like you have to work on the muscles that keep your body alive.
This is also where you see the self-handicapping, which I think is a great skill to teach kids. Also important for adults to remember. One of my favorite subreddits is Explain It Like I'm 5. If you can't distill the thing into simple enough terms, then you truly don't understand it.
Your brain needs to know also when you're going through these things that you are rehearsing emotional situations or situations where you need to react quickly or things like that. It helps that your brain knows this is just play. This isn't for real.
Yes.
No one's actually going to get hurt here.
Yes.
So that you can learn to do those things when you're in a real situation where you might have real stress.
There's also something within this, what I'll call group play, right? Not just by yourself. You get this release of what they call the bonding hormone, right? I think it's oxytocin. It's like, it's that effect that happens when someone, like, you're all doing the thing in the group at the same time. You're cheering for the home team, for your local team that won, or you're all laughing at the same joke. You get this social sense. It's not acceptance. It's like this social bonding that you get.
We move as a herd.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's through entertainment. And I think that's great. I think you also get some things from entertainment that maybe aren't as great. Depends on how it's used. Like you'll get cultural norms, good ones and bad ones, that are passed down. So those values, the taboos, it's through that same sort of group herdish mentality where it gets pushed down. Even if somebody can't tell you the origin. They don't know the origin. It's like, well, that's what everybody else did.
Same things with mythologies that we pass down. And somehow we have this herd thing where you can be a part of our herd if you believe that the sun is made of cheese. And if you swear by it. And if you believe that, you could be a member of the club. But if you didn't believe it, you couldn't be a member of the club, which is why I kind of, because I didn't believe it, I kind of went, I'm not in this club. I'm going to go do something else. Okay, let's talk about some bizarre way humans have entertained themselves over time.
Okay, you go first.
The one that pops to my mind, this isn't that long ago, Emily, the 24/7 Twitch streamer.
Ooh, I don't know this one.
She's streaming on Twitch 24/7. There's nothing entertaining about it, and yet she has a big audience of people who pay attention to whatever she's streaming.
Who just like tune in to see what she's doing?
Look it up.
Does she shower? That's the question I'm really asking here.
Just look it up. There are much more interesting ways that people have entertained themselves in the past, things that we would think are really strange. Like in 19th century Britain, there was this thing called Egyptomania, which hit like this fevered pitch that socialites would host private parties
I know this.
to unroll ancient Egyptian mummies. Guests would gather in parlors to watch bandages being removed, hoping to find amulets and jewelry, and often ending the night by passing around pieces of the very old deceased.
And now we just call it Easter. It's the same thing.
We don't actually have the body there.
It's harder to get bodies, but it's basically the same thing.
I haven't gone to your Easter parties.
I kind of love this. This one came up in my research as well. This is amazing to me, right? It's just like it's like the early version of the white elephant party.
Okay.
Like everybody just brings like a wrapped up body, and then
everybody bring a body,
and then you pick one, and then you trade.
Tremendous amount of curiosity about human anatomy.
Yeah, of course.
And in the 1700s, there were public dissections. And they were major social events. Anatomy theater, they called it.
Theater's what they called it?
Yes. They could seat like 1,000 people, and they sold tickets to it so you could watch surgeons work on cadavers.
The best part about this is when was this, like 17th century? 18th century?
1700s.
1700s. Okay. 18th century. The best part about this is I guarantee you that 18th century Live Nation was taking 30 quid on every single one. They still had some fee in there. I would totally go to like an anatomy. Like that's just amazing. That's incredible.
In the late 19th century, there were x-ray kits.
Okay.
Before we knew of all the problems and the dangers of radiation and all of that.
Yeah. We've talked about this before.
It was a huge fad. Stores sold home kits so people could peek at their bones for fun.
Totally. No, my favorite one was like I saw an actual black and white reel of someone trying on a pair of shoes and putting them under this x-ray kit to just be like, oh, look at how it fits.
That was a common way to measure your feet for shoes.
And none of those people have legs anymore if they're still alive. No, okay. Here's another one I found that is just amazing to me. This is called Pelota Puripeca. Do you know this?
No, I've never even heard these words.
It loosely translates into fire hockey. And as you know, I'm, of course, a hockey fan.
Sure.
This originated in Mexico, I want to say like 3,000 years ago. It was essentially field hockey, but there was an interesting twist. They lit the ball on fire.
Oh, that's fun.
They used wooden sticks, and this like wood or leather ball or something was like soaked in pine resin. Like I don't fully understand what it was.
Okay.
But they would play it at night and light it on fire.
So they're not playing on ice. They're playing on some other surface.
No, like a field, but still, like it had some sort of symbolic meaning of the movement of the sun and the stars, right? Because 3,000 years ago, we didn't know how this stuff worked. There was no, it's only really been a couple hundred years we've understood how the bodies in space seem to move. So this was their way of like playing a game that I don't want to say explained, but was like an homage to the sun and the stars.
In the 1920s, we had endurance fads, which include flagpole sitting. Who can sit on top of the flagpole for the longest time?
Flagpole sitter. Great song.
There was also goldfish swallowing. How many goldfish can you swallow? Live goldfish at Harvard University. I can't imagine the goldfish like that.
That is
the record eventually hit 42 goldfish.
42 goldfish. That's amazing.
That's a lot of live goldfish. That person had an aquarium in their belly for a short time.
I mean, I will say this. If I was just, let's say, some afternoon, bored out of my mind, and I had to choose between the Nathan's hot dog eating competition or goldfish swallowing on the ESPN Ocho, I would turn on the Ocho because that sounds incredible. If it was just like, hold goldfish, here we go.
You've seen Hands on a Hard Body where the contestants have to keep their hands on the truck in order to win the truck. The last one who's still touching the truck wins. hands.
Yeah.
And they can't take their hands off of the truck.
That just sounds like abuse.
It does seem like it's a much easier way to buy a truck simply by writing a check.
It does. It is. But you have to keep your hand on the check the entire time. There was this time, I think this was like mid 1800s, right? Mid 19th century. So let's call it 200 years ago, where British society was gripped by this obsessive craze for ferns. You know this? The Victorian fern fever?
Ferns? The plants?
The plant.
No, I know nothing about this.
As in between two ferns.
Okay.
But this was like the first Beanie Baby craze that I could find, because I wanted to say Beanie Babies, but that's like, I don't know if that was amusement. I don't know what that was, but this was like the OG Beanie Baby craze. And this was not for like the rich. This was all social classes would go scour the countryside, climbing over cliffs
find ferns?
to find ferns. They'd try to find like a rare specimen of a fern. And this was their social outlet.
What year was this?
This is like mid 1800s.
You go back even farther, you go to the Dutch tulip boom. But similar sort of thing.
Yeah, but what I don't think the tulip boom had, and I could be wrong, but this fern fever was one of the few ways at the time that young men and women could, quote, mingle in nature without strict supervision, right? And it was under this like scientific pursuit. That's what caught my attention on this. Where it was like, oh no, we're going out looking for ferns. And it's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I know what bush you're looking for. It's not a fern, but go ahead. You do you. So that one caught my eye. And here's one that's more current, like actually current. This one breaks my brain, and you're going to see this more and more. Pedestrianism. Do you know what that is?
No.
It's competitive walking.
Pedestrianism?
It's competitive walking.
Oh, well, sure.
What do you mean, sure?
I got you. I got the idea.
It's competitive walking.
And if you want to see that in the Olympics, each ticket is $4,000.
Exactly.
And you don't get to know in advance where your seat is.
The other one that I thought was odd, and this still happens in LA, is turtle racing.
Are turtles a competitive species? I don't know them to be.
Only when the hair is involved. When the hair is involved, they get very competitive.
Ancient Romans used to flood entire colosseums or dig massive artificial lakes to stage full-scale naval battles. These are people who really threw a lot of money at entertaining themselves. And they'd put real prisoners on real ships and really have them fight to the death while spectators watched. These are people who really cared about entertainment.
I bet.
In some costly ways.
So it was basically like gladiator fights, but in boats.
Yes.
I love also how you just were nonchalant, like, oh yeah, the Romans would just, flood the Colosseum like it was nothing. Like
17th and 18th century European aristocrats had this thing called fox tossing.
That was the other one I found, but it was like, it made me uncomfortable and queasy.
Of course.
It's kind of terrible.
Pairs of players would stand about 20 feet apart, holding the ends of a long fabric sling. And when a fox or badger ran across the sling, why would the fox or badger ever come near the sling?
Sure.
But they'd yank it taut, launching the animal high into the air. The team that tossed their animal the highest won. I don't think the foxes or the badgers probably were having a good time.
No.
As they should have. Eel pulling. Did you read about eel pulling?
No. Eel pulling?
19th century Dutch game where a live eel was hung over a canal and players in boats tried to snatch it as they rode underneath.
Wow. That is.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I'm thinking Fortnite's not so bad.
No. This one's crazy.
You have more?
Oh, yeah. Turn of the 20th century, if you visited Coney Island or the World's Fair, you might pay a quarter to see a living premature infant in an incubator.
This is where stuff got dark.
Because at the time, hospitals didn't provide this tech, so a doctor named Martin Coney funded the life-saving care by making babies a sideshow attraction. It was a medical entertainment that actually saved thousands of lives.
Yeah. And more amazing, that was a better solution to healthcare than what we have now, too. I mean, that is like literally that's the first GoFundMe for medical care.
Pretty much, sure.
To me, it's dark. I'm glad it worked, and hopefully the person got the care they needed. But I was like, that's just terrible.
And the morbid curiosity of all those people who wanted to see hey, let's show me the premature infant.
Sure.
Any human oddity that they would pay for was a very, very common thing. I mean, some of that still happens, but mostly it's fakery now.
I think that's it, right?
In the late 1800s, Victorians obsessed over spirit photography.
Ooh.
Headless portraits, where photographers used early darkroom manipulation to make it look like a person was holding their own severed head in a basket or on a platter.
Wow.
Early Photoshop.
Yeah. Early AI Sora right there. What that is. That's crazy. Those are great.
Storm chasing. Now, you hear about storm chasing all the time now. People who go and they are actually interested in weather and those things. John Muir, the actual famous naturalist, had a hobby where he would, during massive windstorms in the 1870s, he would climb to the very top of a 100-foot Douglas spruce to ride the tree as it whipped back and forth in the gale, just to experience the music of the forest, he said.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So, Ansel, what do you do in your free time? I play backgammon. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, how about you, John? What do you do? I ride trees in the wind. Okay, John, we're going to name a trail after you is what we're going to do. That is insane. Usually where there's heavy wind, there is also, I don't know, clouds. And usually where there are clouds, you may find lightning.
Sure.
If you're now at the high spot, like, did he hold up his 7-iron just to be sure? Like, what else did he do while he was up there?
So finally, let us move on to what we're all kind of concerned about is, are we overstimulating ourselves, especially with our devices and kids who have their face in their devices all the time, and who are doom scrolling. It doesn't have to be kids. Adults do it too.
I don't think you can really argue a no on that. Very few people are out there staring at the sun,
right?
Not overstimulating themselves. So I think that's a yes. I think the question is with what? But the problem is you have in your pocket, you have this little tiny rectangular, sometimes foldable dopamine vending machine. Yeah. It just goes everywhere that you go. And to me, that's part of the problem, but also the solution is because you have that, you also have the solution in your pocket, but it's a choice.
Explain that to me. Explain what you mean by that.
Well, okay, so let's go back to pre-smartphone. Yeah.
Okay.
You're waiting in line at the bank, or you go to your dentist office and you're there 10 minutes early and you're waiting to see your dentist.
Sure.
Like, you can't leave. You have to be there. You have to be in line or in the waiting room.
In life, there's a lot of waiting, and the smartphone has pretty much gotten rid of that time.
So, but you had this chunk of time, and you had something that you could do to fill the time. So in the past, maybe you would daydream. Maybe they would have a magazine there that you would read. Maybe you brought a book with you.
Sure.
But the point was you sort of did this thing that wasn't just pounding your brain with dopamine.
Yeah, I would, because I didn't really care about celebrities. My dentist had old magazines and things like that. And so I don't really care what celebrities are doing today, let alone what they were doing 20 years ago. I used to take a paperback book and I would rip out about 20 pages worth of text. And then I could, if I was stuck in line at the bank or whatever, I could read my book. And almost invariably, there was enough waiting in every day that I'd get through easily 20 pages.
Yeah.
And then I'd go and grab another hunk of the book next time I needed to go, start another place where I might get stuck waiting.
Okay. First of all, love that you were reading.
Literally consuming the book.
Very logical.
Yeah.
I love that you didn't have to carry the entire book with you.
Oh, there are people who would like to have shot me.
I'm uncomfortable just talking about this right now. Because I view all books, as these like little vessels of knowledge.
Little treasures of knowledge. But you can go buy another one.
I understand.
They still have copies.
That.
I didn't have the only copy.
But that one still has value. You can hand it to someone. This is the thing I dislike about reading books on my Kindle.
But I was also able to get through it.
I understand the practicality of it, and the logicalness makes perfect sense to me. I get all of those things.
I didn't have to read the old Us magazine or whatever that thing was called.
I guess, though, you could have solved this problem is if you would just hand your 20 random pages to somebody next to you and be like, now you read it. But they don't get the next 20. It's just
no sense because they don't have the previous.
Yeah. Right. But then you insist. I said, read it. If you ever want to see your children again, you're going to read those 20 pages.
But it was a useful way. I got through a lot of books.
No, I understand. It's practical. I get that. It just makes me uncomfortable. That's all. Can we just agree that it makes me uncomfortable?
Yeah, I know. There's a lot of people who just can't stomach the destruction of the book.
Yeah.
For me, it was like, this is a disposable, especially paperbacks. This is a disposable thing that I can consume.
But if you weren't thoughtful enough to have brought your own book, or destructive enough to destroy a book and bring part of it like Jeff, you didn't have another ready option. You either read the Us magazine that was on display at your dentist office, or you just stared off into the distance. Like, those were your choices. Sure. It was a different animal.
And by the way, that's not necessarily wasted time either, because you can sort through your inner monologue. You can sort through the things you're...
Absolutely.
That's not necessarily... Obviously, too much of that is not great.
I'm saying the opposite.
A certain amount of it's useful.
Now, if you go more than 3 seconds without getting punched straight into the dopamine receptor, you want to get rid of that, what we interpret now as dead air, and you never give your nervous system a chance to settle down if you're just staring at your phone or scrolling through the entire time, looking at something that's good or something that's not.
The problem is eventually you stop getting the dopamine hits from whatever it is you're looking at.
Well, your body reacts, right? Because you're not, we've evolved in such a state where if you're getting constantly inundated with this, you shut off those receptors. Overstimulation leads to anhedonia, which is this inability to feel pleasure because you have just overwhelmed yourself.
Yeah.
That constant dopamine stream, your brain now downregulates the receptors just to protect itself. And then you need even more stimulation to get back to a state of normal. And that's why these people often find themselves doing this second screening. You know what second screening is? I can't believe I have a name for it.
You see a movie twice.
No, that's a reasonable explanation. You're at a movie or you're watching a movie at home, whatever, it doesn't matter. And you are pulling out your phone and scrolling through your phone because that single source of entertainment isn't enough.
Wow, I'm going to have you kicked out of that theater so fast.
I would
if you
hope.
Pull out your phone while I'm trying to watch a movie.
But think about people at their house, right? They're like, you're watching the show. I'm not talking about when the commercials are on. I'm talking about during the show. Yeah. It's just nuts to me to think that you can't even stay focused on this 24-minute show. You're now pulling your phone out. But I see it. I see it with folks. And that's not good because now you're on this hunt for this dopamine. And I see it in my kids too.
Yeah.
Some of the shows they don't watch a lot of television. They do watch some. They don't watch a lot. And we're very restrictive in what they can and can't watch. You would think all kids shows, fine, right? Maybe they're getting some value out of it. Maybe they're not.
I wouldn't think that. No.
Wow.
Someone who had a kid, for sure,
Absolutely
not true.
not. We have observed, and I'm not the one that connected the dots. My wife was the one that connected the dots. We have certainly observed where you'll have a show that the kids will watch an episode or two of, and then you try to get them to break from it, come in for lunch or whatever.
Yeah.
They are a dysregulated mess.
They've been overstimulated by whatever's going on in the show, sure.
Like they're absolutely overstimulated. Yeah. And that is really tough then. And I was like, oh, well, maybe they're just hungry or they're tired or, whatever. But no, it's the show. It's the way the show was constantly giving these little sort of tidbits.
Sure.
There are other shows that they watch that we quite enjoy where they can just turn it off. And it's no problem. Bluey's a great example.
Yeah.
My kids can binge watch Bluey. They can watch one episode or 5. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And when we're like, hey, we got to go transition now, they just transition. Mm-hmm. They go on to the next thing. It's absolutely fine.
So who's responsible?
Like, this is where I get really stuck because, like, they didn't put a gun to your head. You could just put it down whenever you want. But in some ways, what they did was harder to defeat than putting a gun to your head.
Make it harder to put it down. Yeah,
it's the nicotine cigarettes story. Maybe not a direct comparison. I think it's a reasonable analog. Like, it's very similar to, like, you're hooked now. Who am I to say, well, you should just stop cold turkey? Some people can. I don't know if some people can. Like, I think everybody's got free will. I think it's the easiest / hardest thing you're ever going to do. But
I think we're all different.
Oh, we are all different, for sure.
Different levels of ability to do that.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, there's not a whole lot in life that you control beyond your own actions.
Sure.
But I get that your brain's wired now. Someone is telling you to do something different. Well, who better than you to change that? I know it's not that easy.
Sure. If you have that kind of self-control. Many of us do. You and I obviously do.
Oh, I don't know.
I obviously do.
I don't know. That's the part I didn't know about.
All right, we have to get out of here quickly before we do. Have you seen or read anything good this last week?
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, of course. This is a show about entertainment. This is a show about stimulation. And I happen to have what is probably the most entertaining thing of not just the year, but a longer period of time than this.
Okay.
As you know, I'm a big Nine Inch Nails fan. I have been pretty much my entire life.
Sure.
This last tour that they did was exceptional. Now, for the folks that care or that follow Nine Inch Nails or know me, I saw Nine Inch Nails with David Bowie in Los Angeles, which was the best concert I had ever seen. And for years was the best thing I had ever seen because they're both iconic and they played together and it was amazing. This last tour, I think, was possibly better than that. I'm not sure that it wasn't, but it was that good. It was definitely up there with it. The tour was so good that I saw it 3 times in 3 different cities.
Wow.
Just to consume it. The exact same show. I just wanted to see it more because I really enjoyed it. And they played Coachella. So this is Nine Inch Nails playing with Boys Noise. So Nine Inch Nails is this industrial alt band. Gen Xers pretty much all know it. Sort of came up in the early 90s. So anyway, so Nine Inch Nails is playing with Boys Noise, who's this German-Iraqi electronic producer, Alex Ridha. The collaboration they had during the tour was amazing. It was incredible. Okay. I expected the same thing at Coachella this past weekend. I just expected them to take a set out of the show and play a bunch of the music, and it would just sort of be a repeat of that, which was a fantastic experience. The lighting was great. The production was great. The video was great. Everything was fantastic about the tour. They did not do that. They took like only 2 songs from the tour. The rest of it
is something completely original
and amazing. So I'm watching this going, and by the way, I was planning on going to it. My friends and listeners of this show who supposedly know more about music than me and are in the industry told me not to go, wasn't going to be worth it. And I'm live streaming them during the show, and they said, oh, yeah, we were wrong. And I was like, what do you mean you were wrong? I was going to go. Long story not so long. It was incredible. The people are saying that it not only is it the best show, I think hands down it was the best performance of the Coachella weekend, number 1.
Oh, wow.
Might be the best performance of Coachella ever. And I've been to a lot of the epic performances there. Like the one that people are comparing it to is Daft Punk, which was incredible 20 years ago. And I do think this could certainly be considered better.
Amazing.
The stage presence was incredible. They had a bunch of folks in like these like gray leotards rolling around, which sounds super weird, but it fit into the show. It was very simple. It was very good. It's fantastic. Anybody who's a fan of 90s sort of industrial music or Nine Inch Nails or just wants to see something super creative, I was just going and finding the live stream. Oh, he also sang with his wife, which I've never seen him do. His wife is Mary Queen Mandig, who's also a singer of her own right. I've never seen them perform together, and that would like blew my mind. It was just incredible. Wow. And they were just up there having the time of their life, so you could just see they were loving it.
That's great.
Really fun. So anyway, the live stream from the Sahara tent, Coachella weekend number 1. Recommend you go see it and watch it. And if you are super duper crazy, you can try to go to weekend 2 with me, which I'm not entirely sure I'm going to figure out out to do. Anyway, entertainment, 100% through and through. Social bonding. We had all the pieces were there. My amygdala didn't punch anybody in the throat either, so it was great.
Excellent.
How about you?
Since we're discussing entertainment, I thought I'd recommend the 1950s film Sunset Boulevard. It's more than a movie, it's Hollywood's most savage self-portrait. Billy Wilder's masterpiece is a gothic noir that treats the Dream Factory like a slaughterhouse. It isn't just a fictional story, it's a meta-collision of real legends playing distorted versions of themselves. The legendary Cecil B. DeMille appears as himself, directing a film on the Paramount lot, while silent film giant Buster Keaton sits at a bridge table as one of Norma's waxworks, the forgotten stars of a bygone era. Even the butler Max is played by Eric von Stroheim, a real-life visionary director whose career was devoured by the studio system. This blurring of reality and fiction turns the film into a living ghost story. It's a haunting reminder that in the world of entertainment, today's idol is tomorrow's cautionary tale. Hit the spacebar. Sunset Boulevard on Paramount Plus now.
I've never seen this film.
It's so good.
And I've heard only good. No one has ever said, Sunset Boulevard is not that great.
It is the perfect film about entertainment.
It really kind of is. And it holds up, yeah? 70 years later?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to have to check that out.
That is the episode.
Thank you for joining us for all this nonsense. A truly terrible podcast from our awful company. Visit us on the web at nonsense.productions. I'm CJ Little.
I'm Jeff Parker.
If you like this program, please follow, download, subscribe, and like at Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, Amazon Music, AntennaPod, iHeartRadio, Spotify, My Favorite, Overcast, wherever you may get your podcasts from.
Nonsense is produced using the Audur multi-track digital audio workstation. Amazing full-featured software, open source and free. This trick where you can understand me talking while music plays underneath is done with Audur. Check it out.
We'll be here every Tuesday and Thursday mornings, except when the Lakers and Dodgers are playing at the same time, then we might show up.
So
you can't
sorry.
be sure.
I'm so sorry.
And if the Kings are playing, we'll definitely be here because nobody wants to see them lose in the playoffs.
Sure.
So please join us.
I'm so sorry. Once again, there will not be an episode on Tuesday. I'm going to visit my mother for her birthday. She's turning 89.
She's turning 89?
Amazing, right?
Wow. So she was 6 years old when she had you.
Yes, that's it. She was 6.
That is incredible.
Incredible is exactly the right word.
Yeah, no, say hi to your mom for me.
Wow, that sounds creepy when you say that.